Hi. Being old and feeling old cannot be expressed in a number. The third age, however, more so. It begins when our careers and our responsibilities to rear a family come to an end. Society has not quite adjusted to the fact that today we enjoy much longer lives, especially in the global north. But strangely, this works to our advantage, because nobody expects us to work into our 80s, except if you happen to be the President of America. In fact, most of all are well able to make meaningful contributions. And with a little bit of luck and love, and the courage to respond to new challenges that come our way, it can be full of fun, full of surprises, and much goodness. In 2019, a few months after my 70th birthday, now you know my age, I found myself in northern Jordan in a refugee camp, in a Syrian refugee camp, sitting on a dusty ground, the back against the flapping tent, surrounded by women in hijabs and children of all sizes wearing colorful t-shirts and shorts or dresses. Me playing the guitar and singing, tick, 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 ya Muslim man. And all the children shaking their rattles and singing along enthusiastically. Just one decision had opened up a whole new chapter for my third life. AHR, Atlantic Humanitarian Relief, are a small NGO that brings medical aid to the people in the refugee camps and Syrian refugee camps in northern Jordan, twice yearly since 2012. I joined as a humanitarian. Because music was always a big thing in my life, I decided that's what I would bring to the children in Jordan. And I learned this one popular Arabic song in preparation of my first mission. The reason I feel so comfortable working with refugee children is that I spent all my teenage summers in Switzerland working in holiday camps for children from the deprived areas of Paris. They were then called the slums of Paris. And in my very early 20s, for 2 years, I spent a month in an Algerian refugee camp in the outskirts of Paris, entertaining the children and the young people and helping out wherever necessary. The children in Jordan, to me, are exactly the same as the Algerian children were 50 years ago in Paris. They are so keen to connect with us and to take part in whatever activities we offer them. This shows how resilient they are, but on a deeper level, it also shows how needy they are. Since then, I have done 3 missions with AHR, and I hope to do many more. But contributing isn't everything. I get as much and more out of what I'm giving. When I came back from my first mission, I was highly motivated to learn Arabic. At the beginning, it was just to learn more children's songs to bring to the children. But very soon, I got to love the language for its own sake. And I'm still taking lessons to this day. Just to learn a whole new script, a whole new way of constructing sentences and pronouncing unpronounceable words. It's very fascinating. I love it. And by now, I can sing 8 Arabic children's songs as well. I won't sing them to you now. Although I still cannot hold a conversation or anything close to it in Arabic, the fact that I know a little bit and I can read and write a little bit, helps me not only to connect and relate to the refugees in Jordan, but also to our very own refugees here in Ireland, who have come to our local village last May from Jordan, from Syria, and from Palestine. They need a lot of support. What I can offer is teaching English with a Swiss accent, and help them to make medical appointments, and also offer transport when it is possible. Returning to refugee work after decades, to me, was like coming home and gave me a profound sense of closing the circle. But now back to Ireland. When our teenagers are halfway through their secondary school education, they have to start thinking what subjects they want to take for leaving cert. And that means they have to start thinking, what might I want to become? And when they graduate from college, they think very clearly about what job would suit me best to further my chosen career. Equally well, as you approach your third age, you have to give it a lot of thought as to how prepare for it, so that you will have a third age that will meet your needs. That takes a lot of focus. In our case, this first of all meant that we had, in our middle to late 60s, that we had to provide for our youngest son, who was born with Down syndrome, 19 years after his oldest sibling. Later, he was diagnosed with autism, and he is nonverbal. On account of our age profile, we decided to look for residential care from Camp Hill, who happened to have a community 5 minutes away from our home. We were extremely lucky that Damien was offered a place at the age of 21. He is now in his 29th year. He still comes home every week for 2 days and 2 nights, and every year we go on holiday with him in our camper van through Europe or Ireland, depending on the weather. And our activities with him are cycling. He's on a tandem with his dad, and I have my own bike, and hiking in the mountains, and swimming in the sea if we are in a warm place. Now, the second point of preparation was, it was always our dearest wish that our farm, we're dairy farmers, my husband is, my daughter, as you will just hear now, that our farm would stay in the family. And we were so blessed that our daughter and her husband decided a few years ago that they would like to take over the farm. They had been zookeepers all their lives in Dublin Zoo. And so they took over the farm a couple of years ago. My husband at 73, he still works on the farm, although it is a steep learning curve for him to be always open to new ideas and discuss them productively, and then ultimately let somebody else make the decision. I help out with the children, the 3 grandchildren. I do school runs, I mind them when it's required, and I teach them the piano. And I teach them I don't know. And I teach them the piano. What is the next thing? Oh, see, I knew I would forget that. That's the one I was terrified of forgetting to say how grateful I am for the close bond that formed between myself and my daughter over these last few years. Oh dear. And our relationship, but it is true though. Our relationship with all our children is very much a two-way street. We get a lot of practical and emotional support in many different ways. And the pure joy of seeing the grandchildren grow is a privilege. Now, the third point of preparation is setting boundaries. It is vital to have a healthy balance between being supportive to families and friends and leaving enough space and time to do the things that are really important to us. Having a physically and mentally fulfilled third age really is the best way of hoping to get a long life to be independent. And being independent, that would help our families too, if we are independent. So being close to our families and having the necessary boundaries in place, to me, is a key point of a good third age. What is the wisdom of the old? In my experience, it is becoming more tolerant and less judgmental, not only of other people, but of ourselves. Wisdom is more intuitive than knowledge. When our teenagers start having their own ideas, parents often find themselves having to make mental somersaults, realizing that at times staying connected is more important than being right. And that's how wisdom can grow. That's one way, anyway. How we live our third age can be greatly determined by how we live our second age, our younger years, basically. When I was young, in my youth, I learned to play the violin and the piano. In my 40s, I revived my interest in playing music, and I added the skill of playing the cello to it. I started to teach the children in the locality music. This resulted in the formation of the Dunlavin Youth Orchestra. I could talk a long time about that. And a few years later, it also resulted in me being a founder member of the Co Kildare Orchestra, of which I'm still an active member, playing the violin. The Dara Quartet was formed in my 50s. The other players were teenagers that I had been teaching since they were children. We're still playing together. In fact, it's one of my biggest pleasures to play with my young colleagues. One of them is my own daughter. And a while after I arrived in Ireland in 1975, I started to lead a small church choir. Over the years, this grew into a quite accomplished a cappella choir. In fact, over the last few years, we raised thousands of euros for AHR, the organization I was talking about at the beginning of my talk. Our concerts are branded Music for Medicine. These are examples of how first and second age, younger years can influence the older years. I speak as a married person with children. Single people will have a different story, different priorities, different opportunities, but no less exciting. And whatever the limitation of our lives are, we create within that, we create our own possibilities to live, to learn, and to grow. And the foundation for this comes in any time of our lives. I have cello students that started in their 40s, men and women both, and one of them is now in her 60s. I hope that the third age will always be a time when people can live their lives as they see fit, health permitting. To my fellow third agers, I say, do not let age define your life, yourself. Do not let your aches and pains define your life or yourself. Never forget to learn new things, which leads to growth and transformation. Acknowledge your own situation and your limitations, but always push the boundary a little bit. The world will not always acknowledge your achievements, but you will, and it make you stronger. and make you able to enjoy your life more fully, to be awake. Be proud of your age. To my younger colleagues, I say, do not classify people. See the person behind the wrinkles and the gray hair and the walking aids. Even when trying to interact with somebody who suffers from dementia, respect the person that they were and that they still are. If you can do that, you will always be yourself, and you won't need to define yourself by your age. I am challenging you today to dream into the possibilities that your third age will hold for you. Thank you for listening.